We are now only 3 days away from Trump taking that presidential office back. And with the inauguration just a few days ahead, you can't help but wonder the what ifs, the what could go wrong, the what could go right, and everything else in between. So much speculation. I'll remind you of this.
Here's what he had to say in regards to the inauguration, and I'll give you my thoughts on what happened yesterday. Go for it.
I'll show you what I mean in a second. Another thing I've been telling you about, the inauguration's coming up. We're 2 weeks away. Folks, I'm really hesitant to talk about this, but I feel an obligation to put it out there because I don't have any other avenue to do it other than you guys in the Bongino Army. I don't think the Secret Service is prepared. And I think the Secret Service, along with the FBI, are lying to this transition team. This transition team knows it. And unfortunately, there's nothing they can do until they formally take power in 2 weeks. But when they take power in 2 weeks, Donald Trump is going to be sitting there exposed at the inauguration.
So here's not just anybody. Dan Bongino was a police officer, New York City police officer. And then after that, he went and served as a U.S. Secret Service agent from 1999 to 2011. So think about it.
Now, I remember when we first played that clip and the talk surrounding it was Donald Trump should go ahead and have this inauguration at Mar-a-Lago instead of having it out in the open, because we know that he has a lot of, for lack of a better term, enemies, right? That would be an understatement, if I'm being honest. So because of that, they speculate that so many different things could happen, could go wrong. And people have been in Donald Trump's ear for sure. People saying Trump should be smart enough to add real security. I'm reading he will be very protected. So you can see the divide in between the fear of what if and what could go wrong or what could not. Actually, Trump responded to all of this news, and he's decided that the inauguration has been moved inside. Let's see exactly what he said, though. I'm not sure if y'all can see that. Hold on, let me click on it. Oh, well, clicking on it don't make it no bigger. I think that'll probably be better. Okay, I'll read it anyway. January 20th cannot come fast enough. No, hold on. Let me just, yes. If you're ready for Trump to get in that office, I need to see them fire emojis. I need to see at least 4 and then, 7 next to it. I don't know how I'm, just follow me, okay? Make it make sense in the comments. My mind didn't translate it well. Anyhow, January 20th cannot come fast enough. Everybody, even those that initially opposed the victory by President Donald J. Trump and the Trump administration, just want it to happen. It is my obligation to protect the people of our country. But before we even begin, we have to think of the inauguration itself. The weather forecast for Washington, D.C., with the wind chill factor, could take temperatures into severe record lows. And people say Donald Trump don't care about people. He only cares about himself. Severe record lows. There is an Arctic blast sweeping the country. I don't want to see people hurt or injured in any way. It is dangerous conditions for the tens of thousands of law enforcement, first responders, police, canines, and even horses, and hundreds of thousands of supporters that will be outside for many hours on the 20th in any event if you decide to come dress warmly. Definitely going to be out there in the trench or something like that, man. I'm going to have some thermals under there, you know what I mean? Therefore, Trump, that is, I have ordered the inauguration address, in addition to prayers and other speeches, to be delivered in the United States Capitol rotunda, as was used by Ronald Reagan in 1985, also because of very cold weather. The various dignitaries and guests will be brought into the Capitol. This will be a very beautiful experience for all, and especially for the large TV audience. I appreciate that thoughtfulness and consideration about his supporters in terms of that. But I can't sit here and say that this decision wasn't made with the idea of keeping everybody safe outside of weather conditions as well. So I appreciate that. And we have Glenn Beck, who's going to expand on this a little bit more. But I want to say that with the weather being as severe as it's going to be, and Donald Trump having the support that he does, I'm not saying something is bound to go wrong, but it's just a recipe for potentially something to go wrong for the legacy media to hold on to, and that be the start of his second presidency. And we don't want that to happen. I'll read a few comments here. Bush, Obama, and Clinton said they won't be attending President Trump's inauguration luncheon. Call me a conspiracy theorist. I don't trust any of them. Food tasters. Oh, yeah, well, that's one way to speculate. But the other way we speculate is going, what happened? They were kikiing just a second ago. They were best friends last week. Oh, no. Anyhow, we're going to allow Glenn Beck to answer why is Trump moving his inauguration ceremony indoors. They don't cancel the Macy's Day Parade or football games when it's cold. Is it to keep people safe from the weather or just to keep people safe? Either way, I'm glad people will be safe.
Honestly, I think this is why they're moving the inauguration and all of the people that were going to Washington to stand out in the cold to witness it inside. One, they're moving all of the dignitaries inside the Capitol, where it will be a private event, and then the one of the stadiums there inside, they're moving all of the people and asking people, don't show up at the Capitol, show up in this arena. I think it's because these guys are under such threat, because this is Jason Bourne stuff. Look at, they're changing the power structure in everything. Do you know how much money is going to be lost because of Donald Trump? Do you know how much power is going to be lost because of Donald Trump and all of his surrogates? I will tell you, it could be because it's cold. It's going to be 25 degrees in Washington, D.C. on Monday. Doesn't everybody know that? I mean, I've seen inaugural addresses out in the cold, you know, with people bundled up. I mean, they don't cancel the Macy's Day Parade. Everybody knows it's going to be cold. And if it's too cold for you, you don't go. It could be just because Donald Trump knows what the media would do if somebody had frostbite. But does that make sense to you? That they're moving it because of the cold? Donald Trump, and I'm going to cover.
If I'm being honest, after you put it that way, no, because you are right. I do see football players running in the snow, like literal snow. So I think this is definitely more of an attempt to make sure that Donald Trump and all of us who are going to be in attendance are safe. And I don't blame him for that. Whether he wants to come out and explicitly say that or not, I don't care. As long as everybody's fine is the ultimate goal.
Donald Trump, and I'm going to cover this on Monday as we at Blaze TV have our complete inaugural coverage beginning at 11 a.m. on Blaze TV on Monday. But I will tell you, he's hired his own private security company.
Yes.
And he's not leaving it to the Secret Service. Is it to keep people safe from the weather or just to keep people safe? One way or another, I'm glad that they're going to be safe.
Dan Bongino is somebody whom worked very closely in the White House and protected presidents, worked on the Secret Service, law enforcement prior to that. And he's been sharing his thoughts actively throughout the last couple of months about what he feels would or could happen at the inauguration. Prior to that, you know, we all been saying, Dan Bongino, yo, Trump, you need to go ahead and put him on the team, bro. We just saying he'd be a great addition. Somebody who knows the ins and outs and obviously favors support for Donald Trump. Donald Trump taking the route of hiring his own private security. Yes, please look at this as a chess move. This is a grand situation for him, scenario for him to have people that he trusts to protect him and have a role in that versus just depending on outsiders to take control of that, especially since depending on outsiders led him to get his ear shot out ultimately. Now, I can't play everything that's going on in this clip. Is Alex Jones, and he briefly brought up 2 points that we're gonna, well, one of them that I really want to expand to, but another that I thought was interesting. One that I thought was interesting was he says that the federal helicopters are searching for radioactive material ahead of Trump's inauguration Monday. So I pondered the question about the drones and the intention of those. Then And there's also been speculation about some drone attack, allegedly, that people are speculating could possibly happen. I'm going to keep using those words as I describe that. And then in addition to that, he talked about how illegals are self-deporting themselves out of fear of Trump.
So, crane to your left. Got it.
From only 150 feet in the air, pilots dodge buildings.
And tower on your left side. Got it.
Flying in a grid over the National Mall to scan for radiological or nuclear irregularities, threats like dirty bombs.
No, it's too obvious if the globalists hit Trump in D.C. They're going to once he's in or before he gets inaugurated. The next 2.5 days is so critical. What a danger zone. But at that event, a lot of factors go into it. I don't think there's going to be or something go off. But I'm the one months before Trump won and said he would win in a landslide, but it would be a smaller landslide because there was so much. He had to have a huge landslide to overpower it. That exactly happened. But they would take out the Trump leadership and some of the best people we've got. They've said they're going to have uprisings once Trump's in because, quote, he's going to attack the migrants and the black people. And of course, that's idiotic, and there's no evidence of that in the real world, but they're going to provide the events in a big illegal alien Democrat protest in LA or in Denver or in Austin or in Chicago or in...
Then he went on to elaborate about the different scenarios that they could use to somehow inflict some harm on the event. It's Alex Jones, and recording too much of him on this platform probably isn't wise. But I will say that what they say in this breaking news at the moment is federal helicopters definitely are searching for Trump's, radioactive material. Meanwhile, Jack Sullivan, the national security advisor, openly stated that he may be back because of very real threats. Moving on just from that, I just wanted to bring that to your attention for now. As I get more information on it, I will bring it to you in the next couple of days. I will be heading to DC tonight, though, so y'all pray for your boy. Now, back to illegals are now self-deporting out of fear of Trump mass deportations. The Trump effect.
Some migrants are already choosing to leave the country voluntarily. News Nation's Jorge Ventura joins us live from San Antonio, Texas this morning with more on this story. Jorge, how many migrants are we actually seeing doing this, leaving voluntarily?
Right now, Marky, it's unclear, but we are starting to see a trend, and this comes as cities across the U.S. and Mexico are now bracing for President-elect's deportation operation. But his hardline messaging on those deportation efforts have some migrants panicking and some even choosing now to self-deport back to their home countries. I spoke with immigration attorney Rolando Vasquez, who tells me that some of the immigrants that he represents that entered under the Biden administration are now choosing to return home, fearing deportation under the incoming administration.
Just as recent as yesterday, they notified me that they're going to depart the country voluntarily, and understanding that, the Trump administration is going to carry through on their promises.
And it's not just Trump's deportation plans that are influenced these decisions. Vasquez says it's also that Mexico is now open to accepting non-Mexican deportees. Mexico's move would impact Cuban and Venezuelan migrants the most, since those countries typically do not accept deportation flights from the U.S., but may from Mexico.
This is causing for many migrants to leave on their own, knowing that they're either going to be deported to their home country or be deported to Mexico. And they obviously, the overwhelming majority of them do not want to be in Mexico.
And my sources in Mexico tell me that it's likely that cartels and smugglers will exploit, kidnap, and extort those newly deported migrants. As of right now, it's unclear if Mexico has a plan to protect those deported migrants, Marky.
Yeah, border's about to change on Monday. At least that's what voters were promised.
I say, I appreciate you for taking some accountability. Or I appreciate Donald Trump for inflicting the Trump effect. But I'm glad Trump, again, was smart enough to add real security. I'm glad that he chose to, him and his team, decided to take matters in their own hands. I know that people are very nervous and things of that nature. All I can tell you is we got to just stay prayed up. I genuinely know that everything is going to be fine and no weapon formed against us shall prosper. But we see people taking the initiative to go ahead and dip out because we know the real is about to get in. We only 3 days in. I'm about to hit this road, Jay. Thanks to y'all, man. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much.